Hey, what's going on out there? I would like to welcome every single one of you to Water Your Soil. So before I get into this video, I would like to say, if you're new around here, I have two rules over at this channel. The first rule is for you to always use your own discretion when it comes to credit cards and credit scores. The second rule, that's for you to always verify whatever it is you learn, whether it's here on this channel, another channel, or anywhere. That should be a rule to life. The other day I was having a conversation and someone asked me, do I ever get tired of recording and posting videos on YouTube? And I replied saying, sometimes you get fatigued because you do have life outside of YouTube, content creation. This isn't my life. I do have a life outside of it, but I never get tired with helping people. And I never get tired of seeing people with results of getting credit cards that they always wanted or achieving a good or excellent credit score. It's a great thing when people come by and they leave comments and they say things like, hey, I got approved for the Discover Secured card, or I got a credit limit increase, or I just achieved an excellent credit score, 800, 700, whatever it may be. I never get tired of that. And I don't believe I ever will get tired of hearing that. And that's why I'm here on YouTube, to help people accomplish those things. I have over 500 videos, and majority of them are dedicated towards helping people accomplish those things. So I decided to make a video, and this video is about 5 mistakes that people often make that destroy your credit score. Now, some of you out there who are watching, you may only be concerned with credit cards. You may not be concerned with credit scores, but my advice to any of you who are watching is, if you are someone who's concerned with only credit cards, you also should be concerned with credit scores as well, because credit cards do have an impact on your credit score. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. But before I get into it, I want you all to check out the interview with me and Chad's Money Minutes after this video is complete. Be sure to check out that interview. There are some insightful things said in that video in relation to credit cards, so you don't want to miss that. Not only check that video out after you're done watching this video, but also right now while you're watching, be sure to hit the like button. That's your way of supporting this video. It lets the algorithm know you support this video. So getting into the video, 5 mistakes that people make with credit cards that destroy your credit score. So we're going to start it off with one of the biggest mistakes, and that's carrying over balances. And some of you may say, hey, how is carrying over a balance something that destroys credit scores? Well, you figure credit cards come with interest. Time to time you'll apply for a credit card and they'll have a 0% APR intro bonus period where you don't receive interest on your credit card for maybe 12 months, 15 months, sometimes it's 9 months, but you don't receive any interest. However, what tends to happen is that 0% APR period often expires, and when it does expire, people still have balances that they haven't paid off. So then the interest starts to add up. So then people find themselves with mounting credit card debt. And when you have credit card debt that's piling up from carrying over balances, it will have an impact on your credit score, because 30% of your credit score relates to your debt and how well you're managing your debt. So you want to make sure that you're at least paying off whatever you spend on a month-to-month basis. And if you're someone who's already been carrying over credit card balances and you want to escape from that, you want to make sure that you find a way to chop down on your debt, whether it's picking up another gig or whatever it may be, a side hustle. Figure out a way to chop down on your debt. That way you can get your balance down to 0. And once you do get your balance down to 0 and you want to continue to use your credit card, make sure you're paying off whatever you spend every month. And if you can't afford to pay off whatever you spend, you may want to think about what you're purchasing on a month-to-month basis. And if it's something that you don't have to fit inside of your budget, you may want to consider not making a purchase for it. But going into mistake number 2, this leaves off of what I just stated in mistake number 1, that was carrying a balance. And mistake number 2 is your utilization is too high. If you have a credit card and you have a credit limit and your credit card utilization is too high, it will have a negative impact on your credit score, and eventually it could destroy your credit score. I remember years back, like 2007, 2008, I had a Best Buy credit card. And one of the things that I only knew about credit cards was to pay on time. That's all I knew. If you get a bill, make sure you pay it. And I would pay the minimum payment for that. which was like $35 back then. Maybe it was even 25. I can't remember. It was so long ago. It was almost 20 years ago, but I remember making the minimum payment. But I had a $300 credit limit on that card, and I would pretty much max it out. I would go and I would spend $297, $298. So you figure I'm spending that much on a $300 credit limit card. And you can only imagine what my credit card utilization was. I didn't know anything about credit card utilization back then. As I stated, I only knew that you were supposed to pay whenever you get your bill. And as long as you made the minimum payment, this is what I believed, that I was okay, but I was wrong. And I can only imagine how many other people think like that because they don't know any better. They think, hey, if I just make my minimum payment on time every month, I'm okay, no matter how much of my credit limit I use. But it doesn't work like that. You have to watch your utilization, and your utilization is the percentage of your credit limit that you use. The three major credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, they used to tell people that you want your utilization at 30% or less. But recently, in the past couple of years, they switched it and told people for optimal results, you want it at 10% or less. So now they're at 10% or less. When I first started off my legit credit card journey in 2015, I kept mine at 10% or less. So it's always recommended to have your utilization at 10% or less. Anywhere between 1% and 10% should be a sweet spot. It's up to you to find out which percentage it is that works for you on a month-to-month basis. But please keep your utilization low. Going out and maxing out your credit card or spending 50% of your credit card's credit limit can destroy your credit score. And a lot of people out there are destroying their credit score because they're having high utilization on their credit cards. They're maxing them out and they're only making payments with the minimum payment. And they're bragging about being on time. And it's wild because you're on time, but your utilization is high. So you're wondering why you're not seeing good results with your credit score is because your utilization is too high and your balances are too high from the APR and the interest. So make sure you keep your utilization low with these credit cards. Now we're going into mistake number 3. Mistake number 3 is applying for too many credit cards over a short period of time. It could be 3 months, it could be 6 months. Some people, they get on YouTube, they get on Reddit, they see commercials, and they just go on this wild credit card applying spree where they just want to go apply for any card they believe they could get approved for. And these days it's amazing because some banks even let you know whether or not you will be approved for a specific card before you send the application through. So that really entices people to just go ahead and hit submit on that application and do it. But that can have an impact, a negative impact on your credit score. I know some of you probably say, why? Because of higher inquiries? But no, it's not just because of higher inquiries. It's also because you're creating new accounts. And if you're creating multiple new accounts, that will have a negative impact on your credit age. And I know some of you don't worry about credit age, but credit age matters when it comes to your credit score, because let's say you go and you apply for 5 credit cards, and let's say you get approved for those 5 credit cards. Those are 5 new accounts that you applied for in less than a year, and they're all going to be considered babies when it comes to your credit age. So in the future, it will help you to have those 5 accounts maybe 5 to 10 years down the line. But in the present, it may hurt your credit score, and it may hurt your credit score by a healthy amount of points in a negative way. So you want to make sure that you're not just going on this applying spree. I know some of you like to do that, especially when you get on here and you see these YouTube videos and you're like, hey, I want that card, I want that one, I want that one, and you just go and apply. But if you're someone that's worried about your credit score and maintaining a good or excellent credit score, you may want to consider not doing that. Now, if you're someone who doesn't care about credit scores, then hey, you can do what you want as long as you have the credit score and the credit report to get approved for those cards. But if you are someone who cares about your credit score, maybe you're trying to get a home or you're trying to get a business loan, whatever it may be, you want to make sure you avoid applying for a lot of credit cards in a short period of time. And that could be any time that's less than a year, anywhere from 3 to 6 months to a year. You want to make sure you avoid that. So now we're going to go into mistake number 4. Mistake number 4, this is an interesting one, and it relates to point number one that I made with carrying balances. And when I first learned about this, I was shocked because there are a group of people out here who actually worry about and chase APRs. Like they'll say, hey, I'm going to consider applying for this card because they offer a low APR, or I'm going to apply for this one because the APR is low. One of the worst mistakes that you can make with a credit card is worrying about your APR. And I know some of you out there, you probably like, what is he talking about? We should be concerned with an APR. But in my honest opinion, the best way to manage these credit cards is to pay off whatever you spend. Now, the way you go about doing that is strictly up to you. But the best way to manage these cards and stay out of credit card debt is to pay off whatever you spend on a month-to-month basis. Some people, they go about it as far as treating their credit card like a debit card, whereas every time they spend money on their card and it posts, they pay it off immediately. Some people, such as myself, we keep our utilization under 10% and keep our utilization down, and we budget, but we pay off whatever we spend on a month-to-month basis. When we get our bill, we make sure we pay off our statement balance. That way we are not carrying over balances to the next month. And not doing those things could eventually destroy your credit score. And you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you are paying off whatever you spend. Do not go and chase APRs and be like, well, this card has a low APR, so it works well for me. Don't go chasing APRs. Make sure that you are paying off whatever you spend. And if you can't pay off whatever you spend, then you might want to consider not signing up for that credit card. But chasing APRs and chasing after low APRs can get you in trouble, because that means you're worried about carrying over a balance, and you never know what could happen in life. So you don't want to get in that habit of carrying over balances. You want to get in the habit of paying off whatever you spend on a month-to-month basis, no matter how you do it, whether you go and you spend and then you pay it off immediately, or you pay your statement balance off in full every month. Either way, be careful and be sure not to carry over balances, because I know a lot of people like to do it. This country has $1.14 trillion in credit card debt because a lot of people are doing that. So now we're going to move on to the final mistake, which is mistake number 5. Mistake number 5 is an obvious one, and I wanted to save the most obvious one for last. And the most obvious mistake that people make, which is mistake number 5, is not paying on time. You will be surprised how many people don't pay on time when it comes to their credit card bills. And this is something that's easy to avoid. I know some of you like, well, hey, nothing when it comes to personal finance is easy, but this is easy to avoid. And the reason why it's so easy to avoid this is because now they have it where you could do auto pay. You could simply set up auto pay on every one of your credit card accounts where they take out the money that you owe prior to your due date. And that's the easiest way to avoid not being late. And some people, they'll be like, well, I don't need auto pay, I'll remember. But you never know what will happen on a day-to-day basis. Maybe something in your life will happen where you forget, or maybe you'll just be so busy that you'll forget. And you always want to make sure you at least have that backup of auto pay. You can even make payments on your own, but use auto pay as a backup just in case you forget. You can make those payments prior to your auto pay date, and they won't take out the money when it comes to the auto pay. But make sure that you are paying on time, and make sure you at least have auto pay set up as your backup. And if you're paying your statement balance in full every month, you don't have to worry. It will just stay there as your backup. But for those of you who don't pay your statement balance in full every month, you want to make sure that you at least try to make your statement balance in full every month. And if you can't, you at minimum want to use auto pay, because you don't want to forget. You don't want to be late, because that will destroy your credit score by being late. That's one thing you don't want to do when you have a credit card. But this is Water Your Soil. I just want to educate people on credit cards and find extra ways to help people when it comes to increasing their credit score and achieving good and excellent credit. I've been doing this for years, and I've been teaching people about credit cards for years. And I just wanted to educate you all on some common mistakes that people make that actually destroy their credit scores, because credit scores are at a standstill right now. For the past couple of years, they have been going up. but recently they have stopped. Now, will they go up again? I'm not sure. They may, but with credit card debt being so high, I could see them going down and trending downwards. So we'll see, but I just want to educate people and do things over here the right way. That way people, they'll know. You can always educate people and tell them. And of course, people being adults, they make their own decisions. And as a state, they use their own discretion. However, I want to make sure that I teach people to do things in ways that will work for them and help them achieve optimal results. But anyways, if you're new around here and you're feeling the vibes, this is Water Your Soil. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on all notifications. That way you don't miss a future video. That's clicking on the bell and selecting all, because I post often. Also, this goes to every single one of you watching right now, including my subscribers. Be sure to hit the like button. It literally takes 1 second, as I stated earlier in this video. Hit the like button. That's your way of letting the algorithm know you support this channel and this video. I appreciate every single one of you for taking out the time to watch this video. This is Water Your Soil, and I'm out. Hey, what's going on? This is Nell from Water Your Soil. So as someone who went from a 549 credit score all the way up to the 800s, I decided to share the same information that helped me go from poor credit to excellent credit. This book is titled Strategies to Master Credit. I put everything in this book, everything that helped me go from poor credit to excellent credit. All of the information is in this book. So I want you all to purchase this book. A lot of you have already purchased it, but it's available currently right now on Amazon.com and also MasterCreditBook.com. It's titled Strategies to Master Credit. You want this book. It has all the information needed in order for you to go from poor credit to excellent credit, or just simply maintain your good or excellent credit score. So get the book ASAP. And if you want something more in depth, you could take the course over at www.wateryoursoil.com. It's more in depth. There are actually chapters in this course, and it walks you through basically how FICO credit scores come about and how they're determined. And really, once you learn how FICO scores come about and the concept of credit scores, then you're pretty much on your way to either going from poor credit to good credit, or just maintaining a good or excellent credit score. So if you want something more in depth, I have the course over at www.wateryoursoil.com. All right.